Welcome everybody, my name is Krush AK and this is the Market Meditations podcast. We chat with fascinating people from around the world to extract mindsets, routines, stories and habits to help you build richer lives. Today we have on the third member of the marketing group Yellowblock, a popular crypto Twitter account, Cryptorangutang. His name is Marcin, he's an author, a trader, an entrepreneur, and there is a lot to learn from him. If you're looking to succeed in the crypto space, you're going to absolutely love this episode. Before we jump into this episode, don't forget that I send hand-picked market news, insights, and education to over 6,000 traders and investors 3 times a week. To get access to this, all you have to do is sign up to karushak.substack.com. Meditators, welcome to another episode of the Market Meditations podcast. Today, I have a really awesome guest. This is the third member of Yellowblock we've managed to bring on, which is incredible. We're going to get through the whole bunch very soon. He is a trader, author, entrepreneur, cryptocurrency kind of genius. He's been around for a while and he's absolutely nailed the markets. Marcin, welcome.
Hey, Korosh. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for the great introduction. very happy to have this conversation.
Well, you absolutely deserve the big introduction. You have been actually one of the first accounts I followed in the space. You've been around here a long time, and I'd love to hear about your journey, how it began, and how it led to the moment you wrote your book.
Well, so it all started like out of the blue, I would say. I was working at a digital agency where I was being underpaid and I was working way too much for what I was making back then. So when I quit my job, I was looking for something else to do, and crypto kind of fell from the sky, I would say. My friend was investing in it. It was beginning of 2017. And I decided that I would give it a try as well, even though I never were interested in any kind of financial markets. I did study a little bit of TA before jumping in, but nothing really serious. And I had the luck of jumping in probably the best moment ever that happened to crypto, which began in 2017. And we all know how this year went by. So I made basically the only money that I ever invested in crypto was $1,000. And I've been able to live from this 1,000 for the next 4 years that I've been in crypto right now.
So in 2017, you put $1,000 in and you've lived off of that for 4 years?
Yeah, I've never invested anything else in crypto outside of the 1,000.
That is insane.
It is insane, but it's not as cool as it sounds, because that journey, it had a peak at 2017, then became the bear market and a lot of other stuff. So, it's I would say that my journey in crypto was as volatile as the bear market and bull markets themselves. And right now I am at the point where I've learned a lot of things throughout those 4 years, and I would be happy to share a lot of the stuff that I think people should know before they get into crypto, especially if they plan to do it full time as I did from the first day, because I think that was a very big mistake that I did, that I never actually had any stability going into crypto, and I was lucky enough to make enough money during the first year that allowed me to have a decent lifestyle, let's say, throughout those 4 years. But definitely this is something that everyone should consider, because it's really not only mentally but overall exhausting to be in a market that is 24/7 all the time, and to not be able to take a break, because trading full time requires a lot of self-organization, and I think that not many people are suited for it to actually be full-time traders. And I think that I personally wasn't one. I personally think that I need some daily responsibilities to keep me going, and the way to find out about it is usually through losing basically everything that you once had.
That's the sad part about it, because you can tell everyone again and again, like I can tell you need to manage your risk. If you turn 10 grand to $1 million, you probably got really, really lucky and you're not going to be able to repeat it. But no one believes you until they get hit by a bear market and lose so much. So why did you get hit so hard by the 2017 bear market? What specifically caused that?
Well, the problem was not maybe the trading itself, but since before crypto, I wouldn't say that I didn't have much, but since I invest little and made really a lot of it, I would say that I kind of choked on the success and the full freedom that crypto gives you. But the freedom comes with some drawbacks as well. because you have a full freedom to do everything you want. But if you, as I said, don't have a good self-organization, that freedom can lead to a downfall. So I would say that for me, the problem was that my personal lifestyle and how I handled myself wasn't really good. And in that sense, I lost like the division that I have between crypto and free time. And it merged into one thing that at some point just didn't even give me pleasure to work. Like it was the bear market really hit, not maybe financially, but like emotionally. It was really exhausting. Like there's 4 years in here when you don't really have a period where you can say that you are leaving crypto for a while, you can chill. There was not a period like that. 4 years, you're constantly in the markets.
So, Marcin, just to try paint the picture of what happened, 2017, you got in, you made a boatload of money, you lost most of it, but kept a fair chunk. And then it wasn't the money loss that kind of stopped you. You went into a bit of a depression from overwork and probably the financial loss as well.
Basically, I mean, I didn't went broke like completely, but there were times where I literally had to trade to make a living. And everyone who is trading knows that when you trade and you cannot lose what you're trading with, it's especially more exhausting for you.
Yeah.
So this is where basically part of the depression, part of like darker periods came in. I managed to overcome it thanks also to the Yellowblock guys, which kind of gave the structure of what we are doing right now.
Marcin, how did that happen? How did so you're in the depression? What happened which got you out of it? Your friends picked you up, helped you out?
Well, this is basically like, as I said, I need some kind of responsibilities that I have throughout the day that can keeps me going. And I think that the turning point of this was actually starting Yellowblock, because right now when I did it, I still have the same freedom that I did because I can trade and I run my own thing. But right now, when I wake up, also have responsibilities towards my partners, towards my client. It gives me something to do, and that drives me like throughout the day. And because of that, I was able to sit back, start trading like I wanted as well again, because the way that I've been trading usually is, well, trading shitcoins, which requires a lot of patience. And when you need to trade to make a living, well, that patience is not always there because you kind of need to do it now. So I made a small transition from a shitcoin trader to a more like a price action trader, take on leverage smaller moves so that the money would be a little bit more instant. But that would mean a lot more stress again, which kind of compounded itself into moments that, well, I really thought about quitting trading at some point. I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad that we proceeded with staying here and open up Yellowblock. And right now I can say I'm in a much better spot than I was at the peak 2017. But I can't say that I didn't regret getting into crypto at some point in 2000, especially 19, even though it was a better year than 2018 for the markets.
Well, firstly, I'm very glad you managed to get out of that dark place through finding. It sounded like you needed accountability. A lot of people glorify entrepreneurship or being your own boss as if it's some magical thing that is nothing but positives and you gain freedom. They don't realize that with that freedom comes an immense amount of pressure to make valuable use of your time. If you're not working, if you're not doing productive stuff, you're not making any money. There's no boss that's going to pay you when you're a little less productive or guide you in the right direction. All of that comes suddenly onto you. And some people are way more efficient executing and working around a structure than they are just having a schedule entirely to plan for themselves.
Yeah, because if you're a full-time trader, if you do not trade for one day, I mean, you're gonna lose potential profits, but you're not going to lose any money. If you're running a business, you're not going to do for one day. You're letting down everyone that is working with you. So that kind of keeps you afloat, keeps you going all the time. And I just know, I mean, there are people who are not suitable for being full-time traders. I know that I am that person right now, even though I was lucky to get in and live that kind of lifestyle for a while, and it gave me pleasure as well. But right now, if anybody would ask me if they should do it, I would say that never. Like literally, I don't think it's worth the risk and the headaches and the mental exhaustion that you get from full-time trading, especially in a volatile market as crypto, and there's 24/7. Because I don't think that too many people can make this division between crypto being just work and free time being free time. Because money is addicting. The adrenaline rush from trading is also addicting. But in the long run, I don't see anybody here actually staying full time being crypto traders. Everyone that I know is, going into starting their business, stepping away a bit from trading. I think that's like the natural direction of people that are in this market right now.
For most people, I would fully agree that trading, it's not only better done as a something on the side for most people, but also your trading improves too. Because if you have money coming in, you detach from the outcome of your trades. If you're not attached to what's going to happen, well, you can trade without bias. You can just focus on position sizes you're comfortable with. There are exceptions though. I've gone through periods of full-time trading myself, and I wouldn't say it was unenjoyable. I did enjoy it because, I mean, I don't know about you, Marcin, but I used to be a gamer. I used to be able to play video games nonstop, and trading feels the same to me. So being locked up in a room doing nothing but trading, it works. It's not ideal, it's not healthy, but there are some people that say a similar type personality that would want to become a professional gamer could pull off a career like a professional trader. And I've spoken to a few people, very few, who do have the ambition of just staying traders forever, and they don't really want to transition into the two places traders seem to go to: entrepreneurship, or they go to becoming portfolio managers, more long-term investors.
I am a gamer, and I completely agree with what you're saying. And I had a similar approach during the first 2 years, but now after 4 years of them, when most of your time is spent in front of the PC, and right now, especially with the pandemic, right now when you're sitting at home anyway, it's just exhausting. I mean, it's just not forever. If somebody finds a really interesting pleasure in it, then that's great. But I don't think that what people say that full freedom, full time trading is such a good thing and do whatever you want. Well, that's the problem. Just because you have the freedom doesn't mean that you know how to use it, and sometimes it leads to a downfall.
It fully does. And Marcin, you mentioned you transitioned your trading style a little bit. I know in 2017-18, you had a very strong focus on the fundamentals. How has your approach changed?
I think the approach changed with the markets themselves, because in 2017 and 18, doing FA research was a little bit more easy because the market was not as oversaturated with coins as it is right now. Everyone basically traded the same 30 coins on Binance or even Bittrex, and then can cook and few other exchanges. When right now, when you want to research the coins, well, you got a bunch of new exchanges. You have Uniswap. You have so much new stuff going on that is overwhelming to get a grip on everything. So unless you have a big team that helps you do it, it's hard to catch all the good stuff that is happening. And also, it requires so much time. And I'm at the spot right now where I don't want to spend 16 hours a day doing research like I did throughout my first year or two. So right now, if I see a good opportunity, I would for sure go for it. But I'm not focused that much on spending most of my time researching shitcoins when I can invest something a little bit safer, and that makes me spend less time for the charts and focus on something else.
That's a great answer. And in fact, that's exactly what I did this year. So much new stuff was coming out. It's incredible to watch the market mature and the barrier to entry for such things come up, because there's no way in hell I could have researched every single coin coming out right now and found strategic investments to make. So I hired a team to do it. And I'm fortunate enough to have the capital to be able to pull something off like that off. But if you're new to the market, coming in without much understanding or much capital, you just can't compete with people like me who do have that backing behind them.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to all the Uniswap traders right now, because I think of myself in 2017 as 2017 as one of the premier shitcoin and gem hunters. And right now, I don't think I even compare to the Uniswap guys that are making a killing right now. It's like the market changed really a lot, and I think that was the main reason for me to change the approach a little bit. But I will never say no to a good shitcoin. That's will always remain the same.
So, have you been? So you haven't been following the DeFi narrative. You mentioned some guys are making a killing on Uniswap. Anyone you'd want to shout out from Twitter?
I mean, Messi is the OG, I think, of the Uniswap mania. A lot of the guys that I've been working in the jungle when I was still running in like Mustard, like Chase, there's a lot of smaller guys that are making killing, but it's all kind of in a closed Discord, so there's a little chance that you can actually follow the work.
And What do you think their edge is? What do you think their edge is that they're able to keep up with these sorts of 2020 Uniswap opportunities?
The same stuff that was in 2017. Basically, the way I, for example, did most of my research was basically gathering a team of people that can spend time together to do it. I would say that most of my hits on the best coins that I ever bought were probably given me by somebody as a tip. Hey, look at this, check it out. And that's the way it's looking at now, because there's so many coins coming up. Everyone is going to share 3 or 4 of them. Few other people are going to check if they are legit, and we have a compounded work that lets you actually find those gems. So always, like, networking is the key thing. If you want to catch those things early, you have to know the right people, because you're not going to get a new gem listed on CoinMarketCap on CoinGecko right away. You have to find it in some shitty Discord with 20 people in it when it starts. And to do that, you need to know contacts.
I know your best gems, and I could be wrong here, are QNT and Railblocks. Could you tell me a little bit about those? And the process you went about which finding them, identifying them, and then taking profit. Just take us through everything.
So Railblocks, I think, is the best investment for half of CT. Yeah, we invested in it when it was still called Railblocks. I don't remember the name of the exchange that exits come a little bit later, but there was on. It was like a very typical play where you had literally all the big crypto oldies on a coin that was on a bad exchange that had zero liquidity, that had a pretty good USP because it was literally super fast and had a cool community, but it never moved. And once it moved, it became, well, I started buying it at 10 cents. I was selling it all the way up by, I think, the last sales that I did was at $30. So yeah, that was the biggest winner that I had, but I didn't say much research went into it, because anybody that was following, I don't know, Not So Fast or any other bigger ODs knew about this, because everybody knew about Railblock. Everybody was laughing that it's not moving, and once it moved, it just blew everyone away.
Insane.
So this wasn't as hard, but QNT was probably the biggest winner of 2018, and usually when you have a bear market, you always have few coins that are going to keep chatting. You always have few outliers that will perform really well. And QNT at that point was a coin that I found just looking on IDEX for all the coins that I didn't know. That's like one of the strategies that I did, just go on a unknown exchanges, check all the coins, check if they're worth something. If the exchange gets a little bit of traction, usually the money flows into the better products as well. And I found it, like, the quality of the coin, as in the management, the way they handle themselves, the partners they talk to, the interoperability also was just starting to become a thing. So it was one of the first projects that started to get loud about it. Everything clicked. So there was literally not, for me, there was not a bad spot in this. And despite it was a bear market, I think this trade itself did times 50 in Ethereum value in 2018. Well, we must know that Ethereum also kind of lost in 2018 of value itself, but in this, yeah, that was one of the bigger winners for sure. And I don't follow them that much right now, but from what I've heard, they're still going pretty strong. So best of luck to them. They helped me tremendously in 2018, and I hope they're gonna keep developing.
So bit of a coming back to something you said earlier. You said the end of 2017 was more of your struggling depression like period. Was QNT during that?
No, I think the bad period for me was 2019 actually. 2017 was great. 2018 was also not bad, but 2019 was the place where I kind of.
Okay. And so I assumed it was 2017 when the crash happened, but it appears it was just throughout 2018. Did you get chopped up, or?
Life in 17 was really good. I was living in Lisbon at that time. That's when I started to write the book as well. 2018 was just choppy, but it was still fun because it was still all pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But then when 2018 ended, and I was just living still the same lifestyle without, as I said, without any structure. That's when it hit to me that in 19 I needed to change something about myself to continue working in crypto the way I wanted to.
Did you do any crazy stuff in 2017? Because you said I could hear like a smile in your voice when you were talking about 2017 being awesome.
There was a lot of stuff, but I'm not sure I can talk about it because I know some of the friends and maybe even family members are going to listen to it, and I rather keep it to myself. They don't know much. I don't think they even know about this situation. So
I mean, that is totally fine. You do not have to share if you're not comfortable. If you do think of a cool story, interrupt me and bring it up. I'm sure our listeners would love to hear. So you mentioned the book, and that was actually my first question, but we went off track a little bit because, I mean, it was fascinating to hear about your journey through the markets. What made you want to write a book? What was because obviously there's more money to be made, say, just trading. Well, what was the motivation for the book?
I thought that the money was a good argument, but it wasn't. You don't get paid much for writing a book, unfortunately. Well, it also came kind of unexpected. When I was living in Lisbon, I knew the cryptocurrency community, and we had a publisher that approached us saying that he wants to publish a book about crypto, but he knows nothing about crypto. So if we know somebody that can write it, and one of my friends, Marvin, which is a co-author of the book, asked if we want to do it. I said, yeah, why not? Because, well, first of all, it's cool to have your own book.
Yeah.
I thought that it might bring some revenue. Well, later it turns out that not much, but it was still a cool thing to do. And third thing, there wasn't, in my opinion, there wasn't a one single piece on crypto Twitter and in general in crypto that would cover all the basics that you need to start trading. Because if you either have only TA courses or only FA picks, but you don't have like one piece that you can read and you will know all the basics of fundamentals, how to trade, how to do a TA, and those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we decided to do it. The writing process took, I think, about 5 months, with the last 2 months also almost being like a full-time job writing this book.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the problem was that it's over 300 pages, and well, English is not my native language, so writing it in English also kind of make this process a lot longer. Plus, along the way, the publisher turned out that it's not as honest as we thought he is, so we needed to remove him from the equation. So we were in a spot that we almost had the book ready, but we didn't know how to publish it, so we needed to learn how to do it as well.
Marcin, can you talk about the honesty thing? What wasn't he honest about? What happened there?
Basically, like the revenue from the book was supposed to be divided by 3 people, me, the co-writer, and the publisher, but the publisher didn't give us anything, basically. Like literally all things that we did, we even got the designers for the cover, we got the editors, everything that we did, we provided. He did literally nothing.
Yeah.
So at some point we decided, like, well, what are we paying him for then? So we decided to drop him out, and we did it ourselves. And well, I must say I was very surprised by the outcome in the second day when it was released. I think we reached -- 1 places in a lot of categories on Amazon.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's I mean, you work on something for 5 months and then you see it actually be taken that well by the community. I don't talk about it much. I don't talk about it on Twitter almost at all, but it's still going pretty strong on Amazon just by itself. I use it often to judge the sentiment and if there are many more participants on the market. And I must say that, yeah, the book has picked up pretty much recently, so I can confirm that there are a lot more people interested in learning how to trade crypto.
I bet there are a lot of people also interested in the graph of interest in your book. Use that alongside their trading.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna share it because
Really?
that might be that might be interesting as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a great indicator. There's lots of little things. The more you get involved in the market, I feel the more alpha you have. Like when you get immersed on the level that we are, we're constantly on Twitter. I mean, I don't even want to think how many hours we've spent on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
You're just absorbed in the market. You get to see these micro shifts and trends, and eventually that actually becomes an edge in the market because there is no one else. That you are probably top 1% of people absorbed in the space, so you do get edges which help you make money in the markets.
Yeah, I mean, then Twitter itself is also like the best tool you can get to judge the sentiment, how many people are new in the market right now. I mean, the engagement at this point is just sick.
Yeah,
It's not 2017 maybe levels, yeah, but you get a lot of people that are interested but are not euphoric. That's why also this runs looks much more better for 2021 than it did the last time when we were at 20K.
Do you think 2021 is going to be like 2017?
Actually, I think I do, but with small differences.
Okay.
Basically, in altcoins, well, because of the oversaturation, I do not believe you can get pumps across the market on all exchanges on all alts. they're going to happen in many different places and they're going to follow the trends. Like, for example, DeFi is the current narrative and the trend. So this is probably going to get the most attention. But because there are so many new coins, also the liquidity on them is also lower. So there is a possibility that those pumps also are going to get a lot higher because there are much less people needed to move them. So I think that 2021 is going to be more volatile for alts, maybe more profitable if you really know what you're doing, but it's not going to be as easy for the general audience as it was 2017 when you literally had to try to lose.
Yeah, it was pick anything, buy absolutely anything, and you will make money. Like, I remember there was this one coin called Internet Node Token. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Oh, you
Yep,
did?
I did.
Yeah. So I saw one, this was like peak euphoria, and it was play money at the time because so much money was being made, like you said. I just saw an interview with someone on the token and I thought it sounded kind of good. So I threw 10 grand into that token and made like 5 grand on it. That was the sort of market for listeners who weren't around in 2017 that we were dealing with. Did you ever have a moment like that?
But one addition to that, I remember that this token faked a partnership with Microsoft. I remember it very well.
that might have been
no
why
worries.
I bought.
most of the coins did that at that time. All the stuff that I bought on Cryptopia basically kind of falls for it. I think the chain coin was one of those coins that were just one of the most dumb pumps I've ever seen. It came out of nowhere. I think it did times 300 or something in a matter of hours. It's like, it didn't make sense, anything. You literally could buy, I know Mocho once did the thing that he forecasted that he's going to buy a coin on Cryptopia. He gave, for example, the name of it. It pumped like Timex and it dumped. And a good strategy was also, for example, when he was talking about some coins that had the same ticker, which also works right now here as well. You buy the ticker of the coin that was not his coin, and it also pumped because people were just chasing everything they needed and they wanted. All the investments that were very profitable in 2017 were literally often moved by one account. When people say that Twitter cannot move coins, that is absolutely not true. I mean, the amount of people that want to blindly jump into anything that big accounts talk is incredible. And a lot of people made money on it, and a lot of people lost money on it.
People are still making money on that. Like through 2019 and 18, you've seen all sorts of Telegram pump and dump groups. They find a coin, they talk about it, it's got low volume, a whole bunch of people buy up, so they look like they're geniuses because the coin they spoke about goes up, they dump on people, and then when it goes down, they're like, well, it went up since when I told you. So it's a pretty ugly space when that sort of thing happens. Not to mention, we've also got the scam bots and all coming in. Before we move on from this topic, I did want to go a little bit more into what you said about 2021 and 2017, the comparison. It's interesting how you said you expect volatility to increase, despite it being a more mature market, because there are lots of more options. And that kind of looks more like very closely resembled to, say, blue chip stocks now than what we had, which was the pick any ICO and you make money.
Well, the volatility, I don't expect it on the majors and on the Binance alts or anything that is like wildly approachable by new investors. The volatility, I think, is going to be more visible on the Uniswap and all the new alts that are coming in because of the lower liquidity. The other alts, I agree that they're going to be a bit more stable. I was on the fence with Bitcoin. I didn't think that it's going to reach all-time high still this year. It kind of exceeded the expectations that I have for it. But I still expect this whole bull run, I would say, to be a little bit longer than people anticipate. We're not just going to pump to 14K and 40K and then dump down. I think we're just going to get a really nice, smooth uptrend like we did 2017. And alts are going to get murdered when Bitcoin gets volatile. But when it chills, like we did in the previous years, I think we're going to get at least few those small periods of good profitability. You sell, you come back in a few weeks or a few months and repeat.
It's interesting that you didn't expect Bitcoin to get this high. Do you not have serious Bitcoin exposure? Most people in the crypto space, I would say that main long-term investment is Bitcoin.
I mean, the way I trade right now is I have a bunch of like cold storage Bitcoin, but my most training portfolio is usually mostly in USDT most of the time. This is because, well, first of all, it allows me to be more chill, and because I've missed already so many pumps in my life since I've been in crypto, I am too numb right now to feel anything. I've missed a lot of Uniswap pumps. I've missed some parts of this move to 20K on Bitcoin as well, but it doesn't move me anymore. I mean, for me, the most important thing right now is preserving capital. If I can make money on some of the moves, I will do it. If not, nothing happens. So I wasn't expected to be that fast. I expected to be at least in the end of the quarter first of 2021. But since it became now, well, it's even better because the more people come in right now, the more volatility and probably opportunities we're going to have at the start of 2021 as well.
I read in your article on holding how preserving capital has been for a little while your number one focus. What made you realize that that's your number one focus, firstly? And what are you doing to preserve capital? What strategies are in place for that?
Well, basically, after I know how I perform right now when I'm in a different, for example, state of mind. So I know that I perform the best when I'm usually not sitting in too many positions, and I can have a fresh look at the market itself. Even if I take a break and I come back, I just do the same basically thing. I start with getting myself a feel with the market, usually with trading Ethereum, because that's the asset that I feel the best. And when I feel the rest of the market, then I start to get more exposure. But I'm not afraid to take everything back to the USDT when I feel that I don't want to be exposed right now to the market if I don't feel like trading actively.
Except the cold storage Bitcoin, right? That you just keep in cold storage.
Yep. This is not getting moved until I don't know what happens, but it's staying there for a long time.
And what percentage is that, if you don't mind me asking, like of your overall net worth, do you have in Bitcoin right now, roughly, if you don't want to give pinpoint stuff?
I would say it's about 40%.
Ooh, nice. That's heavy exposure.
I mean, I want to take a step away from trading as much as possible, and I know that I am in this long term. So this is the part of portfolio that I'm not going to move for a really long time, and all the rest that is happening is usually in USDT. So it's not that big of an exposure if you consider what we just did with Bitcoin.
Yeah,
because I could have caught it a lot more. I could have made a lot more money on it, but that would come with a cost of more stress and everything. So I much rather catch a little bit less and still not feel the FOMO and just trade wherever I feel like it, because that's when I'm more successful as well.
Also, it's always easy to say that in hindsight. You can look back and say, if I bought that, if I had more of this, I would have made money, but that doesn't change the decision you made with the information you had at that time.
Yeah, that's also the worst thing that you can probably do as a trader. Think of it like, how much money could I have made if I did this and this and this, and usually those trades never work out anyway because there's too many emotions in play. So yeah.
That's what wrecks people in a bull market. I try to tweet about this as much as I can. No matter when you sell, you're either going to sell too high and then, sorry, you can never sell too high. You're either going to sell late and give back gains to the market, so you sell after it comes down, or you sell and it goes up and you leave gains on the table. There is no scenario where you sell at the exact pinpoint perfect top and then it goes into a bear market unless you're really lucky.
Exactly. Almost nobody sells the tops. That's why it's much easier to buy the bottoms, because especially in all alts, that's why I always prefer them much better, because all the alts move in a same way, the same rhythm, I would say. It's much easier to buy an accumulation floor on the altcoin that it's going to move. Like, for example, well, not Link. Link is maybe a bad example because it never actually fell down.
But Link only goes up.
Link only goes up, literally. But there are coins that are going to perform well with the rest of the market. For example, you cannot not bet on LTC, for example, when Bitcoin and the rest of the market is going to move. So it's much easier to buy an accumulation floor on this one and then ride the uptrend than to try catching the top. Because as you said, if you're not going to sell at the right moment, you're then going to feel FOMO because you're missing out on the more upside that has been going, or you get wrecked even buying it.
How do you spot an accumulation floor? What do you look for to identify it at a good point? And when you enter, where do you put your stop loss for those sorts of plays?
This kind of when I'm buying the bottoms, I don't usually set stop losses because this is it depends whether we are in a negative price discovery or if we've come back to previous accumulation floor and how the overall market looks. Because, for example, the Bitcoin is looking to kill all alts during the next 2 or 3 weeks by chatting up, then for sure I'm going to reduce some of my exposure because I know that alt BTC pairs are going to correct as well. But if the BTC is kind of stable, well, either the previous accumulation floor that I had, the volume is a pretty good indicator for me. When it's a negative price discovery, I usually look for the high time frames for a bullish diffs, and then whenever we stop making lower lows, this is when I kind of start getting my exposure into coin. And depending on how the rest of the market looks, I figure whether this is the spot where I want to increase my exposure or maybe wait a little bit longer so the new low might be made. But this all goes in sync with the market. It's hard to I don't think you can trade crypto by one chart itself. You have to know how the rest of the market looks as well, so that you know that it moves in waves and whether we can have a small rally across the board or not.
That's something I learned this year quite a lot, to just put more discretion into my trading and take a more holistic overview of the market as I'm trying to trade. Because like you said, the key thing is looking for trends in Bitcoin as you're trying to accumulate these alts. And from what you said, that's one part to it. And then the other part is looking for signs of increased volume and change in market structure of the actual alt you're trying to trade as it's in negative price discovery, which for our listeners who don't know what that is, negative price discovery is just when we've made new lows and the price just keeps dropping and we have no idea where it's going to floor out. So what I'd ask next would be, how do you manage your risk for such positions?
You mean when buying the bottoms, you mean?
Yeah, when you're trying to buy the bottoms, do you put a stop loss or do you just put a small position size, so if it goes to zero, it goes to zero?
No, I usually have like a set amount that I go with into like one trade, and I just add the same amount usually because that's what I'm comfortable with. That worked for me in the past. With this kind of stuff, when I'm buying like a swing trade, I don't use stop losses because there's a lot of fuckery going on around those accumulation flows. You can dip below because most of the people will probably set the stop loss below the low that you have.
Yeah.
So if I am confident that this is the bottom of the alt cycle, and I've seen that a lot of alts are showing very similar setups, showing bullion dips and increasing volume, then I just go in. If it turns out that the market switches and, for example, alts start to dip again with Bitcoin going up, then I reduce my exposure. I do it manually, a little bit by babysitting. But that's when I know that I have a full control over a trade and I won't get stopped over some stupid wick, because most of these alts, when you accumulate them, well, they are not liquid. So even this whole accumulation process also takes a bit longer.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I'm guessing you just don't make the position sizes big enough to which you have a heart attack if it suddenly rug pulls and goes to zero.
Yep. Well, it happened a few times as well.
Oh, it has? Any examples?
Well, the best one I always like to give is I think it's even in the article, the XGOX. I think it was a casino coin or something. Yeah, it went 300 sats to 1 sat in a matter of few days or weeks.
Insane.
So it was,
did you hold all the way down?
I still have it.
Oh, wow.
I'm having it as a souvenir right now. I didn't get.
That's what happened to me on OMG, but the best feeling is when you write it off as a tax loss. So it kind of feels good.
Okay. Well, also, like when I traded in 2017, well, when I was trading mostly in liquid alts, you usually get the problem that sometimes the alt never actually picks up, and the liquidity is so low that you're never capable of even selling. So you manage to accumulate a coin and you cannot even sell it because you never actually picked traction. So that was also always a risk of being a shitcoin hunter.
Yeah, the low liquidity. That's why often you see traders, they start trading these low volume coins successfully, and they're making, say, 5% a day on like a $100 or $1,000 portfolio. And then they start running the numbers. If I just compound interest this for a whole year, I'm going to be a billionaire, or something ridiculous like that. And they just take for granted the liquidity issues that come with trading, especially in a market like crypto.
Yeah, liquidity can be either your friend or your enemy. It's enemy when you want to get out because, well, it's harder to manage the risk that time. But it's also your friend because when TA people that do solely TA brag about, for example, catching a 5x on something.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that the FA people probably sold them that back already at a 20x premium. That's why it was worth going to low liquidity coins, because, well, if you catch them early and you get them, sit in them until they go into bigger exchanges, that's the amount of profit that really gets you going and you feel like you're in crypto, not catching a 3x when the alt isn't going on the popular Binance alt.
No, I mean, fully agree, especially, I mean, I'm one of those technical people that come in late and make tiny percentages compared to UFA guys, but now I've got the research team, so I get to do both, which is quite exciting.
I'm pretty sure Teddy takes profit way earlier than you do.
Oh yeah, Teddy is a machine, just sniping those micro scalps again and again and again. I love it.
Sniping those half percent moves like a pro. Yeah.
but the thing is, you have to work to your personality. I mean, that's Teddy's personality. Teddy would probably be terrible at what you do, and I would be terrible at what you do or what Teddy does. Everyone just has to find their own style suited to their personality.
Yeah, I often laugh at that, but Teddy is an incredible trader. I give him a lot of shit for having the weakest hands I've ever seen in my life. But when it comes to scalping, he's really good. Trading overall.
Yeah, I mean, and also a great entrepreneur, a great guy. I've met him in person. Have you met him in person yet? I think it's been a lot. I don't know if you've even met Teddy.
That's the fun fact, because we've been running Yellowblock for 8 or 9 months right now, and I've never seen either Monk or Teddy live, which is kind of ridiculous considering like where are we right now. I was supposed to visit him for 2 weeks in Amsterdam, but then the COVID happened, so I couldn't. But we are going to meet in June next year on Burb's wedding, because we are going with the crypto squad.
Amazing.
So it's going to be a very nice reunion. Satoshi Flipper probably is going to join as well, so I'm really looking forward to meeting all the guys.
Oh, Satoshi Flipper, is he okay? I know he's been just AFAK since he had some family issues. Is everything okay with him?
He is okay right now. Everything is fine. He's just taking a little bit break from Twitter because, well, I don't think anybody ever received so much hate as he did on Twitter. I can imagine that's kind of exhausting, but when he feels like it, he's gonna come back for sure. But for now, the COVID situation and everything was the best way for him to come back right now and try trading. He took a moment for himself, and
good for him.
Not for the better.
Yeah, I'm glad he did, because he's always been a friend to me. He's been very kind to me. He helped teach me. He was actually one of the main motivators for me to incorporate more discretion and overall market outlook into my trading, which has made 2020 actually more profitable for me than 2017 was, simply because of the incorporation of that knowledge, alongside other factors, of course, just experience and the team, but still really glad he's okay. Marcin, let's switch gears to something a little fun. Traveling. I know you took some time off of trading and you decided to do some traveling. Talk us through a little bit about that.
Actually, I was supposed to be right now on a trip, because I was supposed to go on a year-long trip around the world. I wanted to visit a lot of crypto people, visit a lot of places, live 2 or 3 weeks here and there. But then the COVID came again, so I kind of need to leave that on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a break, but not by traveling. That was the plan that I had. That is what I am planning to do the moment they open the borders everywhere in the world. I already have a 2 months long camper trip planned on July and August. We just buy a 10 people van, and we just go from Poland probably to Georgia. Just a 2 month trip, just chilling, visiting a lot of countries along the way. Hopefully not much work in between, but we'll see how it looks. You never know.
That sounds amazing.
And yeah, so the traveling is yet ahead of me. I really wanted to do it. I kind of got stuck in Poland, in Warsaw, due to COVID, so can't say about that much yet. But I'm definitely going to get some tips from Teddy, the way he did it, because I think he kind of managed to mix work and traveling as much as he did in a really cool way that allowed him to still be productive. So
yeah, I don't know how he pulled off the pretty much.
He's a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, like his work ethic is really, really good. I mean, he's I think he's one of the people that can pull it off constantly.
Nice. Well, that explains it, because traveling around for 3 years. I had a podcast with him recently. It hasn't been released yet, but oh no, it has been released. And people have seen it and they loved it, because he's so he's genuine, and you get to see he's been hustling,
Yeah.
traveling the world. He left an 8-figure job to get here. But yeah, that's before we talk even more about Teddy. Focusing on you. How was taking a break and then coming back to trading? Was it difficult to get back into sync with the markets?
Not really. I think that one of the edges that I usually had was, first of all, a lot of knowledge about shitcoins. But other than that, I think I always had a good feel for the market, whether we are finally in an uptrend or downtrend, or how the odds are going to move, when to stay away from it. So
Yeah.
this wasn't hard. The hard part for me was getting again the organization in trading itself, because sometimes I do tend to get lazy when it comes to risk management. Sometimes when I feel very confident in the trades that I'm doing, this is something that I'm still working
YOLO.
on. Almost. So getting like into the rhythm that you never allowed yourself to make any mistakes. You always keep your stops tight. You always manage your trades. You write them down. You keep the journal. Like getting into the rhythm of doing that again was harder than getting into the sync with the market back, because I think it's hard not to be in sync with the market right now, considering how bullish it looks, despite people still having bear market stigma from 2 years back. But I think the outlook for the 2021 is really good. So I'm actually happy to start maybe trading a little bit more if the alts give the opportunity soon.
Well, I'd love to give constructive and useful commentary to aid your analysis, but I have not taken more than half a day off of crypto for the last maybe 8 months. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, no idea what it's like to go out and come back in. But from what I've heard, it's a lot more difficult than you portrayed it to be. But maybe because your style is more fundamentally focused, that's your strength. So you're already in tune with that. It's more the organization and the risk management and the journaling, which is hard to get back into sync with, which is very interesting to
Yeah.
see. Marcin, my last question for you is going to be, and I read that you never had a passion for economics or finance, yet you've been trading for 3 years. You've written a fantastic book on the topic as well. How did you ignite that passion and find your interest for economics and trading?
I don't think it's about passion on economics and trading. I think that I just the jobs that I did previously, I don't handle well being under somebody, having a boss, because at least the bosses that I had, I felt that they weren't competent enough to
Yeah.
maybe give me the orders and run the company the way they do. So I think what dragged me into it is the fact that, well, that freedom that later turned out to be not as good as I thought. But having like the full control of what you're doing is what I kind of like, and that's why we kind of open. I wanted to open Yellowblock as well, because I want to like have something, and when you run it, the satisfaction is much bigger when you're doing, for example, a company like Yellowblock than trading itself, because trading is extremely long thing. And I like to work with people constantly, and like talking and researching shitcoins with other people is not exactly the same as actually running something.
What do you do for Yellowblock? What is your primary role? What does Marcin do for the big organization that is Yellowblock?
I do all the scheduling. I do all the content creation as the ideas. I prepare the campaigns. I prepare the content. I manage all the stuff, like the funds, like basically the organization of the stuff and more creative work.
That
This
sounds
is
like the
the one
stuff you
thing.
hate.
No, actually, this when I worked in digital agency, I always wanted to work in the marketing in a way. So this is actually very cool, because this way we get to present and release what we want. I don't need to have other people tell me that, well, this campaign is not going to work, blah blah blah. If it works, I'm going to find it by myself, by mistakes or not. And more often than not, it actually did. So I'm in a good spot right now, because I connected the stuff that I wanted to do before crypto, and crypto gave me opportunities to right now do anything I want. And because I personally think that I'm not a bad trader, so uh, I find fun in trading when I am in a spot like I am right now. And I am going to milk this market as much as possible, as long as it is that volatile. But when it stops, I wouldn't feel regrets at stepping away. I think I spent a lot of time in this market and gave a lot of myself to it anyway, so that I will feel fulfilled that I had a journey with crypto when it's all said and done.
I find I need to stop saying last question, because every time I say last question, the response is so interesting that I want to ask more questions. I fully agree with you. It feels like a once in a lifetime opportunity that's been going on for the last 3 years, and it's still, we're fortunate enough that it's continuing. So I just can't justify a day off or not giving this market to some extent our all. Like that for some people, that is building in it and trading in it. For others, that's being 24/7 in it. For others, it's a middle ground. But whatever that means to you, I definitely think the crypto market is a place to kill it in right now. And I actually am quite fascinated by what you've done for Yellowblock. So what is the campaign you are most proud of that Yellowblock have ran so far?
I think like just from the structure that we had, the first campaign for BitHam that we did,
Mm-hmm.
just the first client that we got, we literally didn't know what we're doing. We just caught up and decided that we are going to run it. We did a very cool campaign called Why BitHam. It was like a few weeks long campaign where people were giving away reasons why they like trading on it, and it got kind of viral on Twitter, which I didn't expect, because the paid content usually really catches pretty badly, because there's a lot of bad memories that people get from 2017. But the point of Yellowblock itself was to like show that, listen, whether you like paid ads or not, and whether you are against like crypto being more formal and more business right now than it was 3 years ago, paid ads are going to appear and people are going to open up businesses, and businesses will want to promote. So the point was to show that you can do it in a good way, you can show it in a quality way, and to show in a way that will not hurt other people. So you don't work with scammers and you don't talk about prices, because if you promote somebody, you promote the development and the project. You do not say people to buy the tokens, because
Absolutely.
that's not promote, and that's shilling. That's basically pump and dump, which is still seen across the Twitter. At some point, I think it will disappear, but as of now, I must say the numbers that we do for the campaigns in my previous agency, I will be super proud to do it. We are doing almost a million impressions monthly for our clients. So that's for a paid content. I think that's a really a good number.
Yeah, for sure.
And result. So we are looking forward, and we are actually trying to expand right now. So if anybody from CT is listening to this and you would like to join, give me a DM, or we will be getting in touch with you anyway.
Absolutely. If you want to join Yellowblock, hit up Marcin, Teddy, Monk, or Burb. They are the dream team behind this marketing team. Okay, Marcin, thank you so much for your time. This has been fascinating. I've loved talking to you about the markets, your business with Yellowblock, your desire to travel, and your amazing book. Is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with as we bring this podcast to an end?
If there's anything I want to leave you with,
even just
listen,
you're all awesome.
You are awesome. I would say this: I don't know who said it. I'm not sure if that's even like a popular saying, but they say that to become a very good trader, you need to at least lose everything once. And I cannot agree with this more. Like, be humble. Don't get too cocky. You can see even on Twitter a lot of traders right now that have been here for some time. They made a lot of money. They started to be cocky. Like, keep as humble as possible, because the downfall in this market is very easy to fall, and it's very easy to get lazy with risk management and to forget all your rules that got you at the point that you're here. So, have a tight risk management. Keep it humble. Keep studying. Go for a walk from time to time. Take time off from crypto Twitter and from trading in general. And I wish you all a very good 2021 in trading, as I think we are all gonna make it. and hopefully most of you will get a girlfriend as well.
Girlfriends and money for everyone. Marcin, thank you so much. I fully agree that maybe I need to take that last bit of advice and try to take some time off occasionally. Also, it's true. There are two types of traders in these markets, the ones who are humble and the ones who are about to be humbled by the market. So try to go into it humble, manage your risk, and yeah, we can draw this podcast to a close. Thanks again for your time, Marcin. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Market Meditations podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like us to continue bringing you fascinating people from across the world, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you like to listen to these podcasts, and share the episode with a friend. If you have feedback or an idea for a potential guest, reach out to me on Twitter @KarushAK, and do not forget we write a newsletter covering all important topics in crypto and traditional markets. We send it out 3 times a week. The Market Meditations newsletter. You also get early access to these episodes, and you get transcripts and extra notes as well, so make sure to subscribe there as well.